Segment 1, the death of Augustus, the OG CEO of Rome. Welcome to Klepper's Corner, today in history. August 19th, a day so packed with drama, coups, disasters, and tech IPOs that it feels less like a date on the calendar and more like a Netflix anthology series. Think Black Mirror, but with togas, tanks, and ticker symbols. Let's kick it off way back in AD 14 when Emperor Augustus, the guy who turned Rome from a crumbling frat house into an empire, died in Nola, Italy. Augustus was the ultimate brand manager. He literally renamed a month after himself, August, so people would be forced to think about him while booking their vacation. That's some next level PR. Now the rumors say his wife Livia poisoned him with figs. Yes, figs. Imagine dying not from an assassin's blade, but from the same fruit you find on a charcuterie board at Trader Joe's. Honestly, that's the most Italian death possible. When Augustus died, the Senate had to pretend Rome was still a republic, even though it was already a monarchy with extra paperwork. Tiberius, the heir, put on this whole "aw shucks, I don't want power, please don't make me emperor" act. Meanwhile, he already had the army, the titles, and the muscle. This was the ancient version of a billionaire tweeting, "I don't want to run Twitter unless you beg me." Spoiler, they begged him. Rome's whole system was built on constitutional fiction, where everyone agreed the Senate mattered even though it had the power of a local PTA. It's like Congress today. Lots of speeches, no real control. And while Augustus kept the peace for decades, he also set up a dynasty where succession wasn't a clear law, but a family soap opera. That's why, after him, things spiraled into emperors who poisoned dinner guests, declared horses senators, and made Rome a reality show called Keeping Up with the Caesars. Segment 2, the Dieppe Raid, World War II's worst dress rehearsal. Fast forward to 1942. World War II. The Allies launched the Dieppe Raid in France, codename Operation Jubilee, which sounds cheerful, like a parade or a bake sale. Spoiler, it was neither. Nearly 5,000 Canadian soldiers landed on a heavily fortified beach. Surprise was key, except they didn't have surprise, or good tanks, or enough air support. Basically, the Allies rolled up like, "Hey Germany, want to play paintball?" And Germany said, "Sure, but with live ammo." The tanks got stuck on the shingle beach. Yes, the plan depended on gravel. This is what happens when your war strategy looks like it was sketched on a cocktail napkin after 2 pints. The casualties were horrific. Nearly 70% of Canadian troops were killed, wounded, or captured. It was like Normandy, if Normandy had been directed by Michael Bay, but without the budget. The spin doctors later said, no, this was a valuable lesson that paved the way for D-Day, which is like saying burning down your kitchen is a valuable lesson in how to order takeout. Sure, lessons were learned. Don't storm a fortified port, coordinate your services, and for God's sake, check the beach conditions. But the real kicker? A lot of this may have been cover for a secret mission to snag an Enigma machine. Translation, the soldiers were basically the world's deadliest diversion tactic. And yes, eventually those lessons helped on D-Day. But for Canada, this was their military's worst day. Imagine explaining to a grieving mother, "Your son died so we could learn not to drive tanks on pebbles." Segment 3A, 1953, coup in Iran. Now, August 19th isn't just about beaches and figs. It's also about coups. The fun little political reset button that usually involves tanks, propaganda, and at least one guy in sunglasses who looks like he's auditioning for Miami Vice. In 1953, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh decided, hey, maybe Iranians should control Iranian oil. Britain and America reacted the way toddlers do when you take their toys. They screamed and knocked over the sandbox. Enter Operation Ajax, brought to you by the CIA and MI6. They bribed officials, paid thugs, spread propaganda, and basically turned Tehran into a live-action Grand Theft Auto. By the end of the day, Mossadegh was out, the Shah was back in, and Iran's democracy was shoved into the trunk of a car labeled regime change. At the time, the U.S. patted itself on the back. Mission accomplished. But long term? Yeah, this coup planted the seeds of the 1979 Islamic Revolution. So, if you've ever wondered why U.S.-Iran relations are like a bad ex who blocks you on Facebook but still subtweets you, it started here. Segment 3B, 1991, coup in Moscow. Jump ahead to 1991, same day, different coup. Hardline communists in the Soviet Union tried to overthrow Mikhail Gorbachev, who was off in Crimea, probably sipping vodka and wondering why perestroika wasn't working out. The coup leaders, the Gang of Eight, announced Gorbachev was sick and rolled tanks into Moscow. Their big plan? Shut down the news. But instead of inspiring fear, they inspired ballet fatigue. They literally broadcast Swan Lake on repeat. Nothing says we've seized power like Tchaikovsky on loop. Boris Yeltsin, meanwhile, climbed onto a tank and rallied the people. Imagine your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving suddenly saving democracy with a megaphone. That was Yeltsin. The coup collapsed in 3 days because, plot twist, the people didn't buy it, and the military wasn't convinced. By December, the USSR was dead. The irony? A coup meant to save the Soviet Union ended up killing it faster than Gorbachev's approval ratings. So, segment 4, other events of August 19th. Not done yet. August 19th is like Costco for history. You come for one thing, leave with a cart full of coups, battles, and IPOs. 1812, the USS Constitution beat the HMS Guerriere in the War of 1812. Cannonballs bounced off its hull, earning it the nickname Old Ironsides. Basically, the U.S. Navy became the Marvel superhero of wooden boats. 1919, Afghanistan gained independence from Britain. Britain lost so many colonies, you'd think they subscribed to a buy one, lose one free program. 1934, Hitler held a referendum, merging president and chancellor into Führer, and 90% said yes, proving once again that democracy is great until it votes itself out of existence. 1964, the first geostationary satellite launched. Suddenly, live TV around the world, which meant humanity could now be united by the truly global experience of watching commercials. 2004, Google went public. Little company, maybe you've heard of it. That IPO turned search into an empire. Today, they control ads, email, and your entire digital soul. The Romans would have killed for that kind of power. Segment 5, births and deaths. Some big birthdays today. Orville Wright, who gave us airplanes. Coco Chanel, who gave us little black dresses. Gene Roddenberry, who gave us Star Trek. Bill Clinton, who gave us saxophone solos and a lot of awkward press conferences. Deaths, Augustus, of course. Groucho Marx, the man who made an entire career out of mocking authority. Kind of the Roman Senate of comedy. Federico Garcia Lorca, executed during the Spanish Civil War, proving art really does get people killed. And Linus Pauling, the only man to win 2 solo Nobel Prizes, because apparently one just didn't look good on the resume. In conclusion, echoes of August 19th. So what do we learn from August 19th? Succession is messy. Coups usually backfire and never, ever drive tanks on gravel. It's a date that gave us emperors, disasters, revolutions, and the search engine that now tells you about all of it. One day, multiple turning points. It's like history itself looked at August 19th and said, let's overbook this one.